it was a big week for New York, it also has been a big week for Montclair State. Last week on Thursday, September 15th, was our President Koppell's investiture, and we still have so many great interviews to share with y'all. And we had a jam-packed day talking to so many people. So our first interview for today is going to be from President Marchetta Evans from Bloomfield College, and let's hear what she has to say.
On this very special occasion, not only for him, but also for the university as well. It's an exciting day.
We can't talk because Facebook can hear us.
Oh wait, should I not mute the aux then?
I was a new president of Bloomfield. He was a new president. Came over here and met him, and we developed a friendship. As a result, like two brand new presidents.
It's unmuted here.
You know, thinking we need to come together to make sure we support each other.
Now, did you have anything like this when you went into it? And if so, how did it differ? How was it the same?
Well, you know, I haven't seen how it's going to differ yet because we hadn't gotten through the ceremony. But yes, I did. I had an inauguration. I think it was wonderful. I think his will be focused on students as well as the overall community as well. And so I'm looking forward to being part of the day.
Now, exactly what are you looking forward to see today? How do you think this entire day will play out in the end?
One, the focus is on you, the students, right? And that's who Jonathan is. And so focusing on the students, focusing on the vision of next steps, and hopefully taking Montclair State, not hopefully, but he will be taking Montclair State to the next level.
So what are you excited for here at the investiture? I'd like to be on Montclair's campus, because I know Montclair has helped Puerto college out so much.
Well, one, what I'm going to say about today is that this is a formal installation of a friend of mine, Dr. Koppell, and it's also for the community as well to come together to really kind of show what Montclair State has to offer. Great visitors that'll be here on campus, focus on the students and the programming and stuff. So being a president of a college, I recognize the importance of this day and what it means going forward. And Jonathan, you know, discussing his vision and strategic plan for Montclair.
Right. And what are your goals moving forward with the relationship between Bloomfield College and Montclair State?
Well, you know, we're very excited about the strategic partnership. We're looking at, again, we haven't looked at all the details of that particular partnership. We're looking at how a smaller institution can be supported by a larger one, but how, again, it's a win-win. My students might want a smaller environment, not necessarily doing a 20,000 campus. Sometimes students need that, but have the resources and support and the faculty quality on both sides that we can be just a supportive partner for each in the project.
Awesome. And, you know, we got some news recently about healthcare insurance increasing for government workers here in the state of New Jersey, and curious about the impact on that for employees for both universities, if it has any impact on them as well.
You know, honestly, I don't know the answer to that question. Anytime that healthcare is increased, it's not a good thing. At Bloomfield College, the majority of my students are first generation, meaning the first in their family to go to college. 32%, the median family income for my students is just $32,000. So any kind of increase in healthcare, any kind of care, you know, daycare or whatever, it significantly impacts the success of them being able to pursue higher education.
Now, we are part of the radio station here on campus. Have you ever been involved in college radio before?
Yes, I have. We actually have a partnership with WBGO on our campus, and so we're excited about that. I've done several interviews, really big sports fan, and so they brought me in as kind of the sports president. And so, yes, I love college radio.
Oh my goodness, that is so exciting. Also sports. Now, if you were a DJ at WMSC right now, what songs would you put on the radio?
Ooh, so I'm old school. So I go back to Luther Vandross, Whitney Houston. I love smooth jazz, not the traditional classic jazz, but smooth jazz. So Boney James. So I love music, period. My family, we had to, number one, learn how to play the piano from the South. That was one of the things.
I'm from the South too. I'm from North Carolina. Yes.
So that was one of the things that my grandmother made sure that we knew. I have siblings that have degrees in music. So again, music is the first thing I do when I get up in the morning and the last thing I do when I go to bed at night.
So
That is awesome. And do you have any words of encouragement for him as he continues his role here at Montclair State?
You know, most definitely. I'm going to actually be speaking, doing the investiture as one of his keynote speakers. And one of the things that I've noticed about Jonathan is he's such a hard worker. He's passionate about the mission of the university. He's passionate about the students and them being successful, getting them in, getting them graduated, and getting them employed in a job in their major, which is extremely important, right? So again, just keep the faith, keep the work, the great work up, and know that you have friends in the community that are here to support you.
Awesome. Enjoy the rest of your day. Stay cool out here. I know it's hot.
I'm coming from Texas, San Antonio. So this is a beautiful day.
Awesome. Well, I will see you and hear you speak at the ceremony. Awesome.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Evans.
Thank you.
That was a great interview from Marquita Evans of Bloomfield College. Up next, we have Lorraine Koppell, who is the stepmother of Dr. Koppell. And this is what she has to say on what the vibes were like for Investiture Day.
Hi.
Ask Lorraine, right?
Yes, Lorraine Coyle. And I've known Jonathan since he's 6 years old.
Wow.
And the first time I met Jonathan, actually, we went ice skating with Oliver, Carla, Jonathan, and me. And from then, so I know Jonathan now almost 50 years. I've been there for, his bar mitzvah, for his high school graduation, college graduation. I've been there through all the time. And he's really developed into just a spectacular human being, as I'm sure you have found out at this university. I mean, it's really, he loves being here. When he was coming here, he was very enthusiastic. But even since then, every time I talk to him about this university, it's like a new day is dawning on him and he comes up with something else. And he's so excited to be here. And I hope the students are excited to have him here, because I think he's going to do great things here. And I think the university is good for him because he sees an opportunity to do really good stuff here. And so far, we've been pretty impressed with this university, I must say. We've only been here a few times, and every time I come here, I say, wow, you're the president of this university. That's really cool stuff.
I just talked to him earlier today. The students welcome him, appreciate him, and love him also because he's always involved with the students. Yeah. And that's something that really matters to us.
Oh,
so
that's who he is. That's who he is, and that's who he wants to be. And it works. It works for the school and it works for Jonathan. Yeah, he's always involved. He's always had a sense, I know it sounds trite, and I said this before, of making the world a better place. And that's true of a lot of people. I'm not saying Jonathan is unique in that regard, but it's a true passion that the people who don't have as much as some other people have, that they have the opportunity to advance. And whether it's at this university or in any part of his life, he just likes to bring people up, and that's who he is. And I'm proud of him. It's, as I said, it's not my DNA. I'm sorry, it's not my DNA, but his mother and father have done a very good job with him.
Awesome. Y'all enjoy your day. I might see you around. I won't bombard you with questions again, but nice meeting you so much.
Shout out to Lorraine Koppell for providing that insight, and shout out to the Koppell family for providing that support system that he needed to be the president that we very much so adore and love and appreciate on this campus. Dean of Students here at Montclair State.
I'm Marjorie Coleman Carter, and I serve as the Associate Vice President for Student Development and Campus Life and the Dean of Students here at the university. Very nice to meet you.
It is wonderful to meet you too today. And something really important that's happening this month is Hispanic Heritage Month.
Yes.
I know our university prides itself on its diversity. What are some things that we are doing to increase the inclusivity of the campus, increase representation, and provide, services for our Latino students?
Okay. Well, there are a number of things that are happening. I think by virtue of the fact that the university has these services already in place, I think is what has contributed to our recognition as a Hispanic serving institution, right? In order to get that recognition, a university has to have in place already services and people, programs and activities that support our students of color, and particularly our Hispanic students. So I think that this year in particular, we are focused on belonging, helping all of our community to feel a sense of belonging, and that there's things that are going to be occurring throughout the year. We're looking at first generation centers and programs to work with students and their families who have never gone to college before. And I know that we're looking at our faculty recruitment, and we continue again to do very well with our student recruitment for students of Hispanic heritage. And I really do believe that with the things that we already have in place, there are a number of other, which I cannot specifically say, but there are a number of initiatives that are happening at the university that will continue to enhance our programs and our activities and our desire to recruit and retain our Hispanic students.
And outside of the Montclair State community that you're a part of, what are some things you do in your personal life to get involved in the community you live in, you belong to?
Well, I don't live in this particular community, but I'm very involved. I'm from Monmouth County. I'm very involved with my community, and particularly faith-based communities, really working with youth and children and young adults on educational initiatives. So those are some of the things that I have time to do, but being the dean of students is a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week job.
I can imagine. And you know what, in your free time, I'm sure you listen to music sometimes.
I do.
So if you were a DJ at the radio station right now, what songs would you be playing?
I'm gonna be honest with you, R&B. I think there's messages in R&B. I like jazz. I like some hip hop. I think hip hop has some good messages in it as well. But I'm a baby boomer, so R&B for me, and pop music is good too. So I would definitely be spinning some Temptations, some Stevie Wonder, okay, getting down with some Isley Brothers, the place. Yes.
Awesome. You have a wonderful day here. Thank you so much.
Best with the radio station. All right, take care.
I'll say Dean Carter has got the right idea with playing the Temptations here on 90.3 WMSC. But moving on, we have a very, very special interview to end off our cluster of interviews for today. So this university stays with you for a really, really long time. And here at the station, I don't know about y'all, but this experience will always stay with me for a very, very long time. And that goes the same for Ed Fileski, who is of the class of 1968. And here's what he has to say during Dr. Koppell's investiture day.
This was the best experience of my life. And it set the groundwork for me going on for a master's and 2 doctorates after that. So the education I got here was second to none. And unfortunately for you all now, in those days, it was very inexpensive.
I was about to ask, most college students today could not afford college on their own.
In here, thanks to the state of New Jersey, the tuition my freshman year was $75 a semester.
No way.
It went up by my senior year to $125 a semester. And of course, in those days, books were much cheaper. I had some heart palpitations a while back when I saw that a biology book cost over $300. So
yeah, that's kind of crazy. What was one of your best experiences here at Montclair when you were still a student?
Oh my gosh, there are so many. I mean, I was telling Ellie and Susan and the professor that we had the greatest faculty you would ever imagine. The doors were always open, always open to you. And even the main administration, Dean Blanton, who was a real live person at the time, always had time for you. You would come in and just knock on the door and come on in, you know, if you wasn't absolutely busy. Best thing, I guess, in my best experience would have to be analytical chemistry, the whole course. There's not just one thing. It was a whole aggregation of things that just made this, it was essentially one big family, and we all got along very well and had just a wonderful learning experience here.
That is incredible. And can I get your name, your title, what you do?
Ed Fileski. I have MD and a PhD, and I was military for 32 years, both Army and Air Force, and I finished up as Chief of Medical Staff of the 12th Medical Group. So,
Awesome. And if you were in the radio station right now, DJing the board, what songs would you play?
oh my goodness. I can't even think right now. Honestly, all my music is back in the 60s, so I'd have to pull back for there, but I just really couldn't give you any. Oh my gosh, yeah.
Does being back on campus bring back memories of old times?
It does to a certain degree. You all hid my old buildings or took them away. It's getting used to this. See, where we're standing now was a quadrangle. It was a big oval space, and there was the auditorium, and I believe up that way was a student union, which I don't know that's there anymore. Okay, and now Mallory and Finley Hall were over there, and of course the old main building was right where it always was. But we had two or three wooden World War II temporary buildings here.
That is crazy.
And they were left over from training pilots or navigators or something from that time. I was just saying before, in the basement of Finley Hall, there were several leftover Link trainers from that time where they taught the pilots how to. So we would go there for lectures, and we had some professors who were almost like rock stars. They were so good. They had this following around them. So the history professors, and since I was in biology, I would sneak in there to listen to their lectures, and we'd sit on the floor because it had sort of tiers of wooden steps, and the fire marshal would come in and throw us out because we exceeded the safe capacity of the building, and this was constant. Yeah, he'd be there a couple times a day chasing people out.
That is amazing. It's so cool to hear the memories of alumni as someone, who's only been here for a year.
Oh my. I hope you have half as good a time as I did. And I'm sure when you leave here, you'll find out you had a top-notch education.
Yeah, so great talking to you. Enjoy your day. Stay cool out here, okay?
Thank you.
All right. Bye, you guys.
Thank you so much to Ed Fileski for providing that insight. It's so crazy to look back to see how far Montclair State has come over the years. And we're just going to go much, much further with Dr. Koppell's leadership. Dr. Koppell, you are our only hope. Morning Buzz. We had a lot of great interviews, but now it's time for our regularly scheduled programming and to get into these stories we have for you today. And our first story goes to Puerto Rico as Hurricane Fiona rips through the DR and Puerto Rico as well. So today, Hurricane Fiona is continuing its ruinous path after devastating Puerto Rico and flooding rain, then ripping through the DR, where more than 1 million people were left without running water and dozens of homes were destroyed. According to CNN, nearly 800 people were brought to safety by emergency workers in the Dominican Republic. The eye of the hurricane slammed into the nation yesterday, battering communities with maximum sustained winds of 90 miles per hour. That's after the storm wreaked havoc across Puerto Rico Sunday and into Monday, leaving the U.S. territory in a blackout and bringing destruction Lara not seen on the island since Hurricane Maria in 2017. At least 3 people have died in the severe weather, including 1 in the French territory of Guadalupe and 2 in Puerto Rico. In Puerto Rico, a 58-year-old man was swept away by a swollen river behind his home in Comerío, and another man in his 30s died in a fire accident that occurred while he was trying to put gasoline in his generator while it was turned on. This situation is really, really bad, and I'm really hoping that the U.S. is going to provide resources to these countries, specifically Puerto Rico because it's a Commonwealth, but more so both because we lacked in that area last time something like this happened. How do y'all feel about this situation?
I feel as though we do need to bring them that support because we have not in the past, brought the proper support. And, we have the resources to help them. So why are we not?
I think that the only reason why we may not or aren't doing it as quick as possible is because so many countries are being hit by different things simultaneously. So I heard on the news today that Japan was hit with same thing, monsoon rains and landslides. And then this last afternoon or the other day, Taiwan was hit with a 7.5 earthquake. So I think that the president is probably sitting in his room right in his Oval Office right now thinking like, how do we, divulge cash to each country, because they're all allies or business partners with us. So
Yeah,
That's very true. We're sending all love to those affected by Hurricane Fiona.
of course.
And we have to move on to our next story as well, which is also pretty sad. Gab, do you want to take
yeah,
it?
I mean, we send our love to PR, DR, and we also send our love to England because the Queen has passed. If you didn't already know, I feel like everyone has known that. And she had the funeral service happened. So there's some like takeaways and some moments. So we're gonna quickly bring those up. The citizens of the UK, they're obviously still mourning the Queen. I mean, she was Queen for forever. The late Queen's state funeral took place at London's Westminster Abbey yesterday, and it's following 10 official days of national mourning. Only 10. Attending were the late monarch's closest family members, as well as some 500 world leaders and foreign dignitaries. In total, 2,000 guests bid farewell to Britain's longest reigning monarch. Hundreds of thousands of mourners flooded the streets and parks of the capital, capital city, while millions tuned in online. Queen Elizabeth made her final journey back to Windsor Castle, where she is to be buried alongside her late husband, Prince Philip. President Biden attended with First Lady Jill Biden, and was the only leader who allowed to arrive at the Queen's funeral in a private vehicle. Interesting. A 2-minute silence was observed across UK to mark the end of the Queen's funeral. Crowds watching the funeral on the screens in Hyde Park and other royal parks stood in silence to honor the Queen. Inside Westminster Abbey, the end of silence was followed by the singing of God Save the King. So that was the funeral service. There's going to be 10 days of that. And I think that's a lot of days to honor the Queen.
That's very, very true. Thank you for that update. We'll keep you all posted if there's any more in terms of mourning the Queen. Now we're moving on.